For decades, scientists believed nothing with a backbone could survive at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Then a camera came back from the depth with footage of fish calmly swimming where pressure should crush them instantly. If life can exist here without breaking apart, what else is happening down there that we haven't been prepared to see? The Mariana Trench sits in the western Pacific Ocean, stretching deeper than Mount Everest is tall. At its lowest point, Challenger Deep, the seafloor lies almost 11,000 meters below the surface. Down there, pressure reaches more than 1,000 times what you feel at sea level. For a human, it would be fatal in seconds. For decades, scientists assumed this environment marked the absolute end of complex life. That assumption felt reasonable. Bones are rigid. Pressure crushes rigid things. Early experiments showed fish brought up from extreme depths turning soft, distorted, almost melted by decompression. So the trench became a symbol of emptiness, a place where only microbes might survive, clinging to existence at the edge of chemistry. Then the cameras started going deeper. In 2014, a robotic lander touched down near Challenger Deep and recorded something no one expected to see. A snailfish, translucent and pale, drifting calmly across the seabed. Not panicking, not collapsing, just existing. Since then, similar fish have been recorded repeatedly, some at depths beyond 8,000 meters, pushing the known limits of vertebrate life. These animals were not visitors. They were residents. The shock was not just that life was present, it was that it looked comfortable. These fish do not fight pressure. They depend on it. Their bodies are built without rigid, air-filled spaces. Their bones are lighter, less mineralized. Their cells are packed with special molecules that stabilize proteins under extreme pressure, preventing them from folding the wrong way. Bring these animals to the surface too quickly and they die, not from crushing pressure, but from the lack of it. As the cameras stayed longer, the trench revealed something even stranger. The water itself doesn't behave the way we expect. At certain depths, scientists observed shimmering layers where one mass of water seems to sit on top of another. These are hypersaline brine pools, created by dense, salty fluids leaking from the sea floor. Because they are heavier than surrounding seawater, they form underwater lakes and slow-moving rivers. To a camera, it looks like a shoreline. Fish gather at the edge, hovering above the invisible boundary. Cross it, and the chemistry changes instantly. Oxygen drops. Salinity spikes. Animals that drift too far sink, stunned or killed. This is water flowing through water, shaped not by gravity alone, but by chemistry under crushing pressure. Nothing about this environment is passive. There is no sunlight here, no photosynthesis, yet life persists because the trench runs on a different energy system. Microbes feed on chemicals seeping from the Earth's crust, methane, sulfur compounds, and hydrogen. This process, called chemosynthesis, forms the base of an ecosystem entirely disconnected from the sun. Larger animals feed on these microbes, either directly or through a chain of scavengers and predators. Even the food that falls from above behaves differently. Dead plankton, fish, and whale remains drift downward like slow snow. By the time they reach the trench, they are scarce and spread thin. Every calorie matters. Amphipods the size of your hand swarm baited cameras within minutes, stripping carcasses to bone. These crustaceans have been found with plastic fibers in their stomachs, proof that even the deepest place on Earth is not isolated from human activity. That discovery unsettled researchers more than the fish. Plastic bags, chemical pollutants, and industrial compounds have all been detected at trench depths. They arrive slowly, carried by currents and sinking particles, but they arrive all the same. The trench isn't sealed off from the world above. It's collecting what the rest of the ocean discards. The more we look, the clearer the pattern becomes. The Mariana Trench isn't empty. It isn't frozen in time. It's dynamic, chemically active, biologically adapted, and quietly connected to the surface world in ways we barely understand. Every expedition answers one question and raises several more. If you enjoy watching science realize it was confidently wrong, feel free to like and subscribe. The deeper scientists push into the trench, the less it behaves like a place at the end of the world, and the more it starts acting like a system with its own rules. Instruments do not just measure depth and pressure anymore. They record chemistry changing over meters, currents sliding past each other without mixing, and life clustering around invisible boundaries. At these depths, pressure does not just crush, it reshapes biology. Proteins that would normally snap or unravel are chemically reinforced. Cell membranes become more fluid instead of stiff, preventing them from tearing apart. Even DNA behaves differently, stabilized by pressure-loving molecules that barely exist in surface animals. This is why trench species are not simply tougher versions of shallow water life. They are built on a different blueprint entirely. Some of the strangest residents here are amphipods, shrimp-like scavengers that appear ghostly white on camera. Many reach lengths of over 30 centimeters, far larger than their shallow relatives. Their bodies are thin, flexible, and packed with enzymes that remain stable under extreme compression. When baited landers arrive, these animals do not hesitate. Within minutes, dozens swarm in, tearing apart anything organic that reaches the bottom. In the deepest place on Earth, hesitation is a luxury nothing can afford. But not all life here is aggressive. Some organisms move with almost no urgency at all. Holothurians, or sea cucumbers, glide slowly across the sediment, feeding on microbial films that coat the seafloor. They process mud grain by grain, extracting energy from bacteria that feed on chemical seepage below. This is an ecosystem built on patience, recycling, and chemistry rather than speed. Every movement is slow, deliberate, and economical. Then there are the places where life concentrates unnaturally. Along fault lines and subduction zones, the trench leaks fluids from deep within the Earth's crust. These fluids are often rich in methane and other hydrocarbons. Where they seep out, microbial mats bloom, forming pale patches that glow softly under artificial light. Larger animals gather here, feeding directly or indirectly on the chemical energy rising from below. It is a reminder that the trench is not just a hole in the ocean floor. It is a boundary between the surface world and the planet's interior. Despite this activity, our presence down here is fleeting. Most expeditions last only a few hours on the bottom. Cameras are lowered, footage is collected, and then the equipment retreats before pressure, cold or mechanical failure wins. Signals weaken. Batteries drain faster than expected. Even fiber optic cables behave unpredictably at these depths. The trench does not resist exploration violently, it resists it quietly. And yet, even during these brief visits, humans leave a mark. In 2019, researchers confirmed plastic fibers embedded in sediment samples taken from Challenger Deep. Synthetic compounds used in industrial chemicals have been detected in amphipods living nearly 11 kilometers below the surface. These substances did not sink quickly. They drifted for decades, spiraling downward through currents and food webs until they reached the deepest point on Earth. The trench is not untouched. it is downstream. This realization forced scientists to reconsider what remote actually means. We once imagined the Mariana Trench as isolated, sealed away by depth and pressure, but the evidence suggests the opposite. It is connected to the rest of the planet through water movement, chemistry, and falling debris. What enters the ocean eventually reaches even its deepest corners. And still, most of the trench remains unseen. We have mapped only a fraction of its floor in detail. Vast areas have never been filmed. Some regions are too steep, too unstable, or too deep for current technology to reach safely. Every descent risks losing equipment worth millions. Every expedition depends on a narrow window of calm seas and functional machinery. The Mariana Trench is not mysterious because it is dramatic. It is mysterious because it quietly refuses to reveal itself. It hosts life where it should not exist, chemistry that behaves incorrectly, and evidence of human impact where none should be possible. The more we learn, the clearer it becomes that our early assumptions were not just wrong, they were incomplete. If you enjoy watching the planet calmly ignore our expectations, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you want to see how one of the ocean's greatest hunters thrives in conditions just as unforgiving, watch Why Sperm Whales Get Deadlier the deeper you go.